So this is a fight in Petchrungruang, and often you'll have these VIP stages that you walk on this little catwalk up to the gym. I mean, up to the ring, and you usually have important people on the VIP stage who you say hi to and why to on your way in. These guys had cornered for me on my fight the week prior. That guy in the black shirt was the promoter. And then you have these important people. This was a military operation thing. They'll come in with the garlands that you can see hanging on the side of the ring right there in the corner. And they come in, and important people put the garlands on each fighter and take a photo. I've almost never known who these people are, but they're kind of local authorities or something like that. So this opponent had been brought in because the woman they had matched me against for this fight was way bigger than she said she was. So she arrived and she was like 56 to 58 kilos, and people were putting money on the fight, and so they weren't happy with that. So they called in a replacement, and this is the replacement, Nong Nan. She showed up, I don't know when she showed up, but I saw her maybe about 40 minutes before our fight. And she is smaller than the other opponent. She's maybe like 52, 51 kilos. Not very tall, but she was so confident. You could see she was one of these people that you can like pull in last minute. She's very heavy on the bottom, strong legs. And this is a really big stadium in Petchrungruang. It was cool because there's not like a crazy number of people there, but because of the acoustics, when anything would happen in the ring, it sounded like 5,000 people were watching each fight. They'd all just roar and cheer. So it makes watching fights really exciting when the audience is really into it. And Kem, formerly Sitsong Pinong, who now has Kem Muay Thai Gym in Korat, I went and trained at his gym with Yodwisha. He had a fighter on this card, so he happened to be there that night. And his wife, who the last time I saw her, she was pregnant. She just had her baby, and she came up to me before the fight and was talking to me, and I did not recognize her at all. So I was talking to her politely, like this nice woman coming up and talking to me. But when I realized who she was, I had to go talk to her and be like, I'm really sorry, I didn't recognize you. But Kem came into my corner, which was really cool. You'll see him later in the fight. When you start doing the actual Ram Muay part of the Y crew, people will often applaud because they don't know whether you're just going to do the Y crew or the whole thing. But I think that they like seeing a Westerner do it. These guys had taken care of me for my last fight, so they pretty much knew what I was about, which was really good. And the first time, they were hassling me a lot, but this time they were much calmer. I didn't really know what to expect from this opponent because I had been told a very little bit about the first one, but I didn't end up fighting her. So this one came in as like a ringer, just the totally unexpected. You just get in and you fight. It's not a head trip at all to have someone replaced at the last second because I don't really know much about my opponents anyway. So I was pretty much trying to do the same things that I had done well in my fight last week. I felt really free in that fight, so I wanted to continue with that on this one, which was a lot of left side attack and then the right side, like the left side to set up and the right side to really attack. But this opponent is not the same as my last opponent, so you can come in with a plan, but you can only do what you can do against that opponent. But I'm definitely trying more things against her than I generally have the chance to do. And she was very strong in the clinch. Part of it is her size, but she's also a clincher. So I was trying to lock really hard, and you can see it's hard to move her. So I'm just trying to stay a little bit close, trying to do that Nongki style hop, stay loose. I'm actually kicking, which is really cool. That I stole from Karahat. Karahat taught me that. You pretend to walk off and then you do Superman. He's the most badass ever. So anytime I do something like him, I'm very happy. But you can see how she's trying to set up as well. She pops her front leg the same way I do. That's very much a knee fighter thing. And she has good balance when she's kicking. She can definitely add things on top of it, which I was aware of when she would kick me. I knew there was another thing coming. She's not like a one and done kind of striker. The hop was working a little bit and trying to move in the clinch, but again, she was just very hard to move. And I started tiring myself out because instead of taking my power down, because I wasn't able to move her, I like clenched up and tried to double down on my power, which is the opposite of what you should do. That was a good elbow she threw there. I don't remember that. But here, locking her so she can't do that again. And I should be stepping out of the ropes there, but very hard to move. So here you can see all of these guys in the corner. They all have some kind of investment in this fight, so they're all going to say something to me. But this guy in the striped shirt was my corner, like my main corner. He gave me a massage. He's a very, very cool guy. He had a very young fighter, maybe 8 years old, who fought before me. I hate when they have these super tiny little stools because you have to sit down forever before you actually hit the stool. It's not super uncomfortable, but it's if you get leg kicked in a fight, or if you're just kind of not paying attention when you get to your corner, you can have a little bit of a free fall before your ass actually hits the stool. So here you can see this guy in the white and gray shirt making those motions with his hands. He's trying to show me to push her face in the clinch. He wants me to get more distance in my upper body, which I don't think is something I need to do. But you'll see that advice a lot. There, I keep putting my left leg in too much, like I'm stepping in on it, so when she kicks me, it spins me a little bit. And I think that was the key to this entire fight for me, was that if I had gotten my left leg more out, like just angled my hip out a little bit, everything would have changed. I like that non-key hopping though. Good teep. But because I was keeping it kind of inside her body, I was over-rotating on my clinch, and I could not knee with my left side. And my entire strategy was set up with the left and then power with the right, but I couldn't set anything up because my left side was basically at the center of her body. You can see me doing it right now. I can't get that left leg going. She's strong though. Look at herself popping out. And here my hip is like on the inside of her leg. I cannot do anything from that position. And I was semi-aware of it, like I was aware of the frustration, but I wasn't aware of how to solve it, I think, while everything was happening. But those blocks, you can tell, are more solid, so that means my leg was out a little bit more. When you get in the corner like that, you gotta spin out. It took me a couple of beats to do it, but here she puts me back in. I tried to throw an elbow in there. She's got a good turn. She's very strong. And already, because I'm trying to lock all the time, I'm starting to like burn my arms out because I'm just muscling everything instead of taking the power down and using technique and angles instead. But my teep was working well. Those are good knees. They tire people out. But then you can see my left leg getting stuck between her legs again. That's what does me in when I fight Loma. I put my foot on the inside, and 99% of the women I'm fighting, that's not a huge problem other than me stymieing myself, like against her. But against Loma, she'll punish you for it. That was a good knee. Here I'm not locking, but I'm getting around her arm, which is something that Yodwicha taught me. And if I had gone above her elbow, I would have had better control there. So here I'm trying to pull her back. So by like yanking on her and pulling her around the ring, that's showing dominance for me because I'm moving her around. So even if I'm not getting my knees going, I'm moving her a lot, which looks really good, especially because I'm the smaller fighter. So my hair had come undone in the first round, and this guy actually took one of my rubber bands out and tried to fix my hair, which no man has ever tried to do, ever in my fights. This is Kem in the black talking to me. He's telling me he wants me to lock around her neck and pull so that I can knee harder. So he's happy with the clinching, but he wants my knees to be harder, which absolutely makes sense. I think he was probably gambling on a knockout. Kevin's telling me to drag back, which I had done in that round. But you can see the hand motions of the people in the crowd. Kem comes back because he probably just talked to someone. And now he's coming back to, like, re-instruct. He's a very cool energy in the corner. Anyone who fights out of his gym, definitely you would want Kem in your corner. He's very calm. He talks kind of slowly, but not in a, like, can you do this for me? Like, he's like, just do this thing. Alright, so going into round 3, I was trying to teep her legs a little bit more and use that left side setup. It's a good elbow. But she is coming straight in and scoring when she does so. So she's actually just snuffing out all of the other weapons that I might be using, which I as a clinch fighter do to other fighters. So she's really giving me a taste of my own medicine. And so I'm trying to back up because I have the lead. But you can see she's coming in. That's a good score. So when you see clinching like this, where both fighters are locked up and throwing these knees, you have to look at who's turning whom, and it's not just counting how many knees are going like on a calculator. You have to look at the impact of each one. So if I throw 3 little rabbit knees and she throws 1 really big one, she caught the bigger fish. Like, that's a better score. So her having me more or less in the corner, that was good for her. But she's still having to chase. She hasn't caught up yet. So here, getting her head bent down like that, that's really good for me. And I'm getting my left leg going a little bit more. I think because I'm dragging her back and pulling her head down, I'm not as stuck sideways. But her landing on top of me is really good. We didn't quite go flat, so I'm not sure how that scores, but that was not my point. You can see in her corner, they're telling her to come. They want her to take over this round, because right now she's still just trying to take the advantage rather than evening it out. But here, her back is on the ropes. I'm getting some points in. My jumping there shows a little bit more vitality and control. But you'll see, if you watch her corner and my corner, everyone's going to be arguing over who's getting the points. So that was blocked. Then 2 punches. So here I'm getting my distance a little bit better, and she's a little bit slower coming in, I think because she's tired. But I've got jelly arms also, so when we clinch up, I'm not able to move her around as much. Here I should be jerking on her. I should be yanking back and controlling her, but getting her in the ropes like this is good. So that was a round where I like very barely kept my lead, but she did really well, and definitely tired at this point. Kem's coming up, and he's like telling me to knee harder. He really wants me to lock and just take that control and then knee really hard rather than the kind of like locking and trying to get the small knees in. He's like, look at her, she's really tired. He's like looking across the ring. He's like, you can do this, you win for sure. And then he comes back and he's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. So here in these rounds, I think they can tell that I'm a little bit burning. So they're rubbing harder with the ice on all of my limbs. They're just trying to like wake up all of my muscles because they are a little bit jelly. Everyone's telling me to just lock and knee. Kem's the only one who's specifying that I need to knee harder, but I think he means cleaner. So here she's trying to get the score going by kicks. I was so proud of that, throwing her back and chasing her. I've thrown fighters back before, but actually going after her was awesome. That's definitely a Nam Kabuan type influence. The referee trying to get out of the way. So here I'm locking. I'm bending her down, so that's good. But I should be dragging her around a little bit more because I'm not kneeing as strong as I want to. You can see my corner. the way they're hovering their hands in the air, they're like, you need to grab her. Here again, trying to get those points. That was a little bit of plowing, but that's alright. She went into the ropes. Her corner is like getting into the ring. Do you see that? It's crazy. So in this round, we clash heads, and I get a cut just from the headbutt on my forehead. But we're clinching so much that you can't see it right away. But when the ref breaks us, everyone sees it, and they just start screaming because now I'm bleeding. And it was only a small cut, but I looked like Carrie. Like, there was blood everywhere. It was all over my opponent as well because we were clinching. So I think it was unclear which one of us was bleeding for a second. Except my face was more bloody. So here you can see I'm kind of like puttering around in a circle. I need to be really driving around. But getting her in the corner is dominant. You see all the hands going up in the air. Those are gamblers calling out the points. Here she's trying to elbow me to open that up more. But I'm tired. She's more tired. And I'm just trying to get these knees in. The way she kind of flops over when we get in the ropes, she needs to work on that performance. Those elbows are really dramatic though, even though they're not landing. So here, that's a good one. You want to get those straight knees, and then she slumps over, which sells it even better. Her corner is like getting in the ring. So this guy in the army pants, he's Petchrungruang. He's the trainer at Chem's gym, and he's held pads for me before. I really, really like him. He's the one who takes over putting the Vaseline on to stop the bleeding. Look at how much they put on. It's like this enormous glob, and it all came off in one piece. That's Chem in the black. He's totally reading me to see whether I'm okay, but he's just grab her and pull her down. I've heard he's a very avid gambler, so there's 100% chance he's investing in this. But you can see the guys are pretty much calm. Like, they're not freaking out about the cut. I'm not freaking out about the cut. Cam's like, you okay? Like, giving me the thumbs up. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. If you're bleeding, even if you're ahead, you could back up and start, taking your lead and have the go get me, like come get me game plan. But if you're bleeding, it doesn't look the same. So you have to come forward. And the cut itself is not a point, bleeding is not a point, but it changes the story that's being told in the fight. So you can't perform the same way you would if you're not cut. So even though I'm ahead, there was a danger of me losing the 5th round by just a sliver, and because I'm bleeding, she could take it. So I knew I had to go forward, even though I was so tired, because I'd burned myself out. Here again, she's trying to get points by kicking, but I land on top of her, which is really good for me. And you can see in her body language that she is coming forward and she is trying to take it, but she's definitely feeling the same burn I am and is behind. So you can see her corner is telling her to kick because those are the best points. So she's actually trying to use like the point system to come ahead rather than being able to tell a story where she's ahead. And here I'm just trying to stay close and just keep yanking on her and kneeing. But here she's not coming in anymore, so that's my cue that I can stay back more. Just blocking when she kicks and knocking her back with punches. And here I decide to take it. So now it's time to back up and give the you have to come chase me. And she's coming really slowly, which usually means she does not believe she can take it. So she's kind of conceding here. And I just have to be really careful that she does not come in and score something really big. So you basically just move and teep and block when you need to, and then put up a Kara hot hand and be like, I won already, to sell it. But here she's trying, but you can see she's not coming in hard. So that's that. I was confident I won that fight based on how it all went. Her corner wiped me down, which was really nice. get to do your lap. Everyone cheers. Afterwards, everyone in the crowd was very, very nice. And I had my corner take me over to the doctor to get stitches, and the doctor would not give me stitches. He said the cut was too small and I didn't need them. And I said, could you please do it just so it can close in time for my next fight, and he just would not stitch them. So I didn't get stitches on this. I taped it, and it actually healed up pretty nice. But here you can see just how these venues work out. It's like all empty back here. All the gamblers stay together. There are some monks over here on the right. But this is what like 90% of your time when you go to fights is spent on these mats back here among other fighters. And you just hang your monk on where you can. Jaidi is tied up back there underneath. He couldn't come to the ring because he was kind of in a bad mood that day. But here they just kind of go to work. They see how small the cut is. They're okay. And it's just like a group team effort to come back and take care of the fighter afterwards, but then they just go off to the next fights and gambling and things like that. So you can see the top of it is the top of an old cut opening, and then it has a tiny branch coming off the side, and that tiny new branch is what caused so much blood, I think. But because it was an old cut, that's probably why it healed so nice, even without the stitches.